Hey, alright everybody. In this video we are going to be doing an overview and instructions for the paper mosaic project. To start off with the supplies you need, you're going to need a piece of blank white paper as your canvas, no smaller than 8.5 by 11 if you're virtual. You should have sketchbooks by now, so I expect you to have these. You're going to need scissors, you're going to need glue, and then obviously you need a pencil. And then this is extra but not mandatory, but Q-tips will really help with glue in this case, so if you have some Q-tips. Otherwise you can use your fingertips for that. And then you are going to be needing either construction paper, that is the colors that you want, or you can use magazine paper, or if you don't have a magazine or construction paper, we can use newspaper as well. Talk to me about your individual circumstance if you can't access one of these materials, and I will work with you on a different way to approach the project. So, first thing you need to do is lay down your basic outline of your reference photo. So I should have already discussed with you going to unsplash.com and picking one of those free starter images that photographers provide to artists for free to use, copyright free. I chose an image of a toucan. I recommend you pick something that's not super detailed in the background. You can pick an animal, you can pick a bird, you can pick a object of some kind, maybe a sports ball like a football. Just talk to me, but don't make it so complicated that it's going to take you forever to do, but pick something that's moderately difficult to do. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is lay down the basic shapes of the reference image. Now, I'm not worried about hyperrealism at all. Based on our previous lessons, I want you to be able to break this down into simple, easy shapes, and then you're going to use the paper mosaic techniques that I've taught you to assemble cut pieces of paper to create your image. So whatever your image is, have it nearby. You can have it on your computer or your phone. Have it nearby. And then lightly take a pencil and draw out your idea. Now, when it comes to the actual paper mosaic part of this project, you're going to need the pieces of paper that you're going to be cutting up, whatever color. You actually don't need that much colored paper, so again, you can take a magazine, you can look for a specific color that you're aiming for, like blue, and you can cut it out, and you can use that the same way you would if you don't have access to construction paper. You can either pre-cut all of your paper into little squares, or you can cut them into abstract shapes as you go, and you can change their size and position as you go. Now when it comes to cutting the paper, I would aim for a size about the first knuckle of your thumb and no larger or smaller, or otherwise it's going to look really janky. So when you cut, I'm going to cut a rectangle and show you the proper size. So this is about a decent size right here. So I could put it on my upper thumb, and that's about a decent size. Depending on where you're working, you might be a little smaller, but if you go any bigger than this, then it's going to look odd, and that defeats the purpose of the project. So I have my first piece here. So when it comes to gluing down the pieces, what I recommend you do is you take your glue, you have a scrap piece of paper off to the side, and I would dab out a pretty decent sized pool of glue onto the scrap piece of paper, and then you can put this off to the side, and this is where the Q-tip comes in. Now you can use your fingertip, but I recommend using a Q-tip so that you don't get your fingers all sticky. Take the Q-tip and dip it in the glue, and then take your piece of paper and rub the glue on the back of that piece. So using the Q-tip method is going to be the best method here. Okay? And then once you have your first piece glued down, you can start to branch out from there and cut the pieces to fit the areas that you're filling. And then if you remember the grout technique, when you look at bathroom tiles, there is a small amount of grout in between each tile. So that means is that when you start to glue your pieces of paper together, you need to leave a gap between those pieces of paper. And so you want that to be an even space across your entire piece. Okay, so if that's the thickness of my grout right there, I want that to be the thickness of my grout across the entire piece. And so it's going to be a bit tricky to kind of get it to fit into place, and that the entire paper is covered from the bottom to the top. And so when you're done, it's not going to look hyper realistic. It's going to look a little chunky, but that's what a mosaic is about. It's about breaking things down into simple shapes and creating a more abstract work of art when you're done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to speed up the video, and I'm going to finish this piece so that you can see what I do and how I process it as I go, and then I'll come back in the end to conclude.